Hello and welcome to What We're Watching. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Ed.
I'm Liz.
And John.
Okay, so I want to start off with, Liz, I don't know if you're watching this, but I know you're a big fan. Grace and Frankie.
I do know their last season on Netflix.
Yes, on Netflix, season 7.
Kudos to those ladies. Has dropped. I am, hashtag trademark, Savor watching it.
Love it.
And, I realize this, I have watched all the seasons up until this one.
Right.
And, I used to be on the Paramount lot quite often for work, and I would walk by where they'd film, and the stalker came out at me. I truly wanted to crash their offices. But
I was with you one time for sure.
Right.
And you were like, ooh, I can see the palm trees or the palm fronds of their fake beach.
Let's walk by really slowly. So the door is open. Let's sneak in. What are those extras doing back there?
Yeah, they were not actively shooting, but they were in production, so everything was up.
And it was one of those...
That show, sorry to interrupt, that show has never struck me. I've only watched a little bit of it as a flashback type show, but you two could have broken on set and been like a young...
I hesitate to say, I've said this before, that I often feel like I'm Frankie to Liz's Grace.
Well, Rosie and I say we're going to be that most likely, minus the gay husbands and certain elements, but, living together and shenanigans. And
well, mine is more of a reference to, I always think of you as being very graceful and put together, and me being, as my daughter...
The person making yogurt.
Look, I will say, oh, my undercover hippie has come out.
Oh, but I love Frankie. I think she's very hip and cool, actually, she dresses.
Well, that's very funny, because Sarah will, of course, my daughter will joke, it's not very undercover, your hippie tendencies.
It is actually pretty. I mean, I think you read as basically normal.
And then it turns out, you're really a hippie. Not only yogurt, but I also made honey candy for a while. I did a lot of weird hippie
It is
stuff.
one of the best shows. And there was a Saturday Night Live sketch that Pete Davidson did, which was basically
was he watching it?
It was some joke where someone's like, it was almost a song parody where it's talking about
That's his jam, for
yo,
sure.
I don't watch the NBA. I watch Grace and Frankie. And it was all about, it was so well done. It was so funny. And you could tell he was obviously a true fan. And my son, who watches Saturday Night Live, laughed at it and he goes, what's that show? I go, I watched it. I love it. So he started to watch it with me, and then I realized that some of it veers
a little racy.
Veers.
It gets, I'll say, it skews a little older. And then we'll open up conversations. Nothing about the LGBTQ+. None of that is the issue. It's just more sexuality.
Yeah, it's the lube and the vibrator or something.
Lube, vibrator, older women's sexuality, where then he doesn't even understand that much of younger women's sexuality yet. So now I've got to deal with geriatric. I'm like, Jesus Lord, can we just take it at the normal pace? So I have yet to watch it because I'm just sort of so bummed this is the last season. But, Lily Tomlin's one of my favorite actresses, performers.
For sure.
I recently, 3 or 4 years ago, because it was pre-COVID, went to go see her perform live her solo show.
I didn't know that.
We did.
Yeah. And
The Incredible Shrinking Woman, I love her.
Well, she did have the big chair there, right, John? You came with me, yeah. And I brought my mother-in-law, and Mark came, and God, she was spry up on that stage, moving around.
It was shocking.
Yeah. Moving around, working the crowd, all angles of it,
Good
funny
for
as
her.
hell, on it. I mean, who knows the day after how exhausted she was, but damn. So, all right. So you're watching. Don't worry. I mean, no spoiler.
No, I'm not going to.
You don't have to hold back. It's fine.
Although, just a quick note, as usual, we're never getting to the actual point we're going for. But now, Liz, didn't you not watch, I guess, this second to last season, because you were like, I'm going to rewatch everything else again before I get to there. So you did eventually get there?
Yes, because that's one of those things I can rewatch. I was rewatching, the first 5, somewhat distracted, because I had watched.
Just kind of have it on.
Yes, because I had watched it. But okay, I love this scene coming up. Oh my God, Frankie's about to do this. Oh yeah, everyone, Grace.
It's a little distracting.
So I can watch it almost, out the corner of my eye. And halfway listening, or blow dry my hair with. Now I've really gotten into subtitles, and almost on everything, because it.
No.
Yes. So we blow dry my hair, and the subtitles be going, and so I can follow along with.
Oh, perfect! You don't even have to pause it.
So yes, so now I'm caught up. It's just, and listen, the musical theater.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Throughout. I mean,
there's a lot of fun stuff coming up in that area.
There's just so much. It's so good. The kid dynamic and just they're children who are adults. So, but, Frank and Gracie really, that tells you about Hollywood. I mean, they have created two iconic characters. And they're both, in their 80s.
82 and 84, I think. I mean, they're in their 80s for sure, yeah.
And the co-hosts, which were their husbands, sorry, if you have not watched it, don't really feel like it's a spoiler at this point, but why Frank and Gracie move in with each other and start a life together, and they really are the modern day odd couple, is because their two husbands who are law partners basically announce that they're in love with each other.
And become a couple.
And leave their wives. So,
and one of them, it was on Law and Order, so that took him
Sam
away
Waterston.
Yes.
But he's back, baby. But now he's playing like the ADA or the DA. What's the higher position in a...
I don't know. I was going to make a bridge about he was taken away from his marriage because he was being a lawyer in New York.
Yeah, he's really out now. No, but now he's incredulous in every episode that someone's trying to go for a manslaughter plea.
Jack always has been. Come on.
Oh, God. Jack, there is a cause for this. There's precedent. No, I don't think so, but go for it. He's got like 2 scenes at the end of, when we get to the order part. But he's a working, which I love. So, long answer to your question. Watching season 7. Not yet. Like I said, savor watching it. Not ready to dive in yet 'cause it's going to make me sad.
Well, I did not start it right when, because I think they broke up the 7th.
Yeah, they did. 4 and 12.
Yes, when the 4 came out, I didn't know how many
last
it was.
August, apparently.
Yeah, I watched those kind of close to when they first came out, and then I guess it's been out for a little bit, this last chunk.
April 29th, almost more than 2 weeks, Catherine.
I know, but 2 weeks means I didn't jump on it immediately because I watched it over the last couple days. Maybe I just I didn't savor watch it. I just watched it. It was the thing I was watching on the treadmill and in between things. And when Eric was like, "I'm going to bed," I'm like, "Well, I'm going to watch some Grace and Frankie,"
because it is one of those shows that, especially the first season, I don't know who got me into it. John, I think you were watching it before me.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I'm in a bad TV/Netflix place. I'm like stuck on season 2 of all the shows that are like season 5 now.
You got some work to do.
And there was a thing. I wasn't super early on Grace and Frankie, but I don't know that anybody guided me to it. So I can't remember. I'm sorry.
I was a little late to the party. I think there was 2 seasons by the time I started to watch it.
Were you tardy to the party?
Tardy to the party.
I for sure didn't start right away. I didn't pick it up until after you. Sure.
Because I think I got Rosemary watching it and quite a few people watching it. But that was one of those things where, I'm really into the next episode. Oh, wait. Yeah, let's just hit that little corner button. Next episode, and it was very digestible,
easy to burn through.
Oh, but yet there was continuous stories. So you're like, what's going to happen?
Oh, for sure. Where you're like, ooh, that goes into the next thing, and I need to know where it goes.
What's happening?
Did you realize it's Marta Kaufman?
Yes.
Kaufman and Crane of Friends? I did not know that.
Mm-hmm.
It is so good, and if you don't watch it, there's 7 seasons available on Netflix. 2 icons of the industry, Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, lead the cast, but followed up by Sam Waterston and
Martin Sheen,
who are awesome.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
And then you have the kids. I mean, it's a very well constructed show. Pretty much every episode has multiple storylines going on, and so you could follow who you like. I just love it. It's probably one of my favorite shows, and my son does love it. But I have realized at certain point, like, ooh.
Well, I mean, he's gonna find out about this stuff someday. So,
like I said, it's more like some of just like the geriatric, like the sexuality and the woman issues. It's fun because he's so inquisitive. That's a lot of pausing too. So it's like I don't enjoy.
It kind
I don't know if I'd want to watch new episodes with him because it's like wait, what do you mean? What do you mean? Why is she saying she's dry? Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What is lube? What is lube? What is lube?
Oh God.
Oh my God. And then I'm like, wait, what the fuck?
This is the bad thing about the pause button. Like when we just had TV, it was like, you didn't know. You just kept going. Whatever.
Oh, he is absolutely one of the types. He will ask what's about to happen. And my husband and I will say, like, we don't know. We're watching it with you. Let's just watch. And it's almost like a foreign concept to him. Like, they're going to explain it? Yes. It's called storyline. Like, they're going to...
Let it evolve in its own way.
There's very few times they leave things hanging that are that imperative.
Well, that's his nervous Nelly nature that's terrible.
Tell me now. You're like,
Well, I am very impressed that you are holding yourself back and didn't just immediately burn through it.
Also because I want a pocket where I have maybe 2 hours plus, because I know there's no way I'm just watching one
at a time. Yeah.
So I'm going to digest if there's 12 of them.
Yeah, 12
For
this last
sure,
drop.
I'm going to watch like 3 or 4 right in a run. So that's a little block of time. And my husband, for no reason other than we just didn't start watching it together, he'll walk in and laugh, because I will, if I lie in bed next to him and watch it with headphones on, I will belly laugh at some scenes. Like belly laugh. And he'll be like, oh my God, what? I'm like, Frankie is high. And she just like, Grace is stuck on the toilet. You just will say, he's like, what? So he's watched some, he enjoys it. It's almost like when I watched Schitt's Creek. I watched it before him. I'd laugh out loud at Moira. And eventually he kind of just got sucked and started to watch it. But I don't even think it was from the beginning.
Yeah, he probably just picked it up as you were...
Pick up watching.
Yeah, pick up watching.
Yep.
Sure. The only... other than the main cast, some of the repeat players, Tim Bagley, who plays Badgley. Tim Badgley, I think is more the way you would say it. Anyway, he plays the theater director. He's very fun in this last run.
He's bitter because, like I've always said, I love regional local theater. It just is right for characters.
Oh,
and he is perfect. The egos.
Oh God,
the resentments. It's so brilliant. And he chews up every scene he's in.
Oh yeah,
he owns it. And Martin Sheen, who is trying to win the local
the Tappy Award for regional theater, or
it's
in
very
San Diego or whatever.
It's very prestigious. It's so.
Well, wait, is this? I almost felt like they were saying it wasn't La Jolla Playhouse, which is actually a big deal.
No.
Okay.
I think they're
No.
But I think even if they're somewhat down there, now they're competing against that. So it is a big deal. If you're even close, if you're in the running versus La Jolla Playhouse, then you're doing pretty good.
Right.
Well, I don't know. That's not the vibe.
It's not the vibe. It's that prestigious job.
Yeah, see, I'm stuck. I don't even know where. Season maybe 3, when it was like that.
What?
I'm a bad person. It was like he was doing that first play that was like about the founding fathers. And
Yes.
it's like, this is great, but you also didn't get a ton of it. So I don't know something.
And
at
you need
that
to catch
point,
up watching. Okay?
I was going to say, so pick up watching and catch up watching. There's definitely
Get
some
going.
Come on. Definitely in that first play, I didn't get the vibe like, oh, this theater thing is going to be a throughout theme. And then it was, and was very enjoyable.
Is Chris Evans' brother still involved?
No, but he did have, it was that one season where he was the neighbor.
Great.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. So
was
there's
great.
So any other
we got 2 seasons, 4 and 5.
Oh, okay.
right.
I mean, probably more in one than the other, but
I'm sure Grace and Frankie, their dating life, there's stuff happening there.
Yeah, we do. I think they tried to bring back people for a last hurrah in this season. So you got a sprinkling of people doing like one episode in this last run.
Right.
Which is nice.
I mean, also one of my favorite things is Frankie's shout outs, her love of the Del Taco burrito.
Oh, they get a high placement at the end of this.
And that has to be rooted in some reality with somebody there, because it's
Del Taco had probably 2 significant call out, maybe 3.
Yeah, Del Taco. Yeah.
It's Del Taco for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pick me up a macho burrito on your way back. Like, that's whatever she'll say that or something.
I mean, it's one of those things. You're like, that's why these people were stars. Like, they're just her doing her like macho. Like, that's funny.
She'll wear necklaces or some of her outfits. I'm like, how are you not being weighed down to the ground?
Oh, I felt like this time around too, there were just some real unique pieces. You're like, we're not doing any repeat anything. Everything was like new weird giant necklaces and scarfy moo things happening. You have a lot to look forward to.
All right, well, I can't wait. And like I said, Jane Fonda, Lily Tomlin, icons still dominating the industry. Really, I mean, that's one of those things like, if you pitch that without them attached, I know you got it made. And yet they just nail it. And they're so vibrant. and vital in those roles. It's like, hello,
It's pretty amazing.
don't be ageism.
Yeah, it turns what could have been like, who cares, into like, oh, this is actually gold.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of gold, it feels a little bit like, a resurgence of the Golden Girls. Just like, this is...
And The Odd Couple mixed in. And I do think that first episode, if you go back to the very first episode where their world falls apart, and especially Grace, who keeps everything so tightly wound up and perfect, and Jane Fonda, who our persona is so put together, such a beautiful older woman, when she sort of takes off her facade and her makeup and her hair, and she even has like clips pulling back her skin, and does that, and you see her bare. I think you knew right then, we're in for something a little different here. These women are gonna be real. And Jane Fonda, there are moments of her acting, you're like, damn, you are really good.
But the nice thing is that they didn't do all terribly serious like that.
Oh,
Because
God,
if they went that direction, that it was just that, the raw, what it would be like, and like, that would be great. It wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah, I feel like they pivoted the other direction. They actually went more into like broad comedy, getting stuck on the floor.
But, they still grounded it, I think.
Yes.
That they didn't maybe have as many of the moments, but I think you still felt the seriousness, or like it didn't feel like just silly, or just like, oh, this isn't, I mean, it is
the
very
absurdity
silly,
of the situation. They get themselves in there, able to find the humor, and yet it looks like Nancy Meyer.
Oh yeah,
film.
sure.
Such gorgeous backgrounds. Like nobody lives in a hovel. Like it's all looking good. All their wardrobes, every meal they're eating, every martini. Like I don't even drink martinis. I'm like, I want a martini because of Grace. I mean, and then I want to get high on peyote because of Frankie. So yes. All right, so that's Grace and Frankie. I can't wait.
All right, Grace and Frankie. The other thing I just finished was Heartstoppers. Is anybody watching Heartstoppers?
No, but I
on
heard
Netflix?
about it. I heard it's fantastic.
It's so good. It's on Netflix. It's an English. Right now, it's one season. I think. How many episodes is it? It is 8 episodes. So it was very quick watch. They're a little half-hour.
Oh, short. Okay.
It was very sweet and enjoyable. It reminded me a little bit, partly because it's set in England and it's all English kids in school, reminded me of Sex Education, because this is also a lot about dating and sort of where your sexuality is taking you in that formative time.
And no magic.
And no magic like Harry Potter. So it's a different school experience.
So no Avada Kedavra. Like heart stopping. Got it.
No.
Okay.
Oh, jeez.
I believe it was based on a graphic novel by a woman, Alice Osmond, I think is her name. Osmond? I don't know. Anyway, she was the creator of this show based on her graphic novel. So I love that as well. It was very good. I super recommend it. It's lovely and a great watch.
I've had a couple people post about it saying,
I think
watch
actually
the show. This is a great show.
It was because somebody posted about it that I became aware of it, and then, of course, asked my daughter, and she was like, oh, yeah, Heartstoppers, people love that. You should watch it. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I will. Have you watched it? No, I haven't watched it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm on it. So, all right, that's what I've been up to. Who's next?
I go next, although it's going to include a lot more of you, just so you're aware.
Oh, shit.
For starters, to give everybody a break from you talking, I'm going to pull John into the conversation and say that we just finished Upload, which of course will still include you. And season 3 just got announced.
I know.
So, woo, exciting. Don't have to worry about the crazy cliffhanger that season 2 left us on, with no end to most of those stories. It was like, well, that wasn't satisfying the way the season 1 was satisfying, but I'm super excited for a season 3 now.
Please.
Now you got me
Upload.
real up. So Upload is a series on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Oh,
And-
right. We were telling you to watch this.
And
Sorry.
the new season's dropped, so you can get caught up with us. This is new. The 3rd season won't be out for a while. But it's essentially a series where the premise is some future where you can upload yourself digitally, and then you're no longer in the physical world, and there's an afterlife basically that you can upload into.
Whoa.
So the premise of the show is that afterlife isn't just up and running and running by itself. It has like people helping operate it, and they're called angels, so they like check in on the people who are in this virtual reality. So through that process, we have one particular client that we're following and one particular angel that we're following through this first season, and that really like builds this great story up, and the two different worlds and how that all works together, and the financial machinations of the future, and why that this like service industry where she's just like remoting into a virtual environment, that's a job. Yeah, that's a job now. So it's a really fun, terrifying version of the future, which is great to enjoy. But then in season 2, we're already in the world, and things have been happening, and stuff's going on, and so there's they amp up the drama and the intrigue, and all sorts of things are going on, and the love stories change. I think one of my favorite characters from season 2, who was maybe not as huge a character, it's not that I didn't love him in season 1, but Luke.
Do not diminish Luke.
I'm not trying to diminish Luke. Luke is fine. Luke can come to the party.
Luke is basically, one of his friends that the main character meets in the afterlife situation.
Played by Kevin Bigley. And he's like set in like a 1940s kind of a jock character, like maybe a little bit Captain America from like the first Avengers, like a little bit too good of a good boy.
Not all the way. He's that. Look, there's an element of that which there are other parts of Upload that are like, no, this person is old or from a different time or something, though confusingly in some ways.
Yeah.
But he's just a classic archetype in a way. But I know he's not that. He's not from the 40s.
But anyway, so this season they played a lot more with some of the stuff that they were doing. I'm not going to give anything away, but there's some things that you think are happening that aren't happening, and then I am going to give some stuff away. They have babies in the virtual world,
God,
and they are
horrifying,
and terrible and amazing and awesome. And the single day growth cycle was so
amazing.
Much fun.
Well, just
because of the character Owen Daniels, who is frigging great.
Yeah, I was just going to say, reminder that this is a Greg Daniels show, and that Owen Daniels, who plays the main character in the virtual world, and he's everything. He works. He's everything.
He's a working actor who got taken advantage of. What are you talking about?
That was an amazing twist.
That'd be like if you were the.
Is that Greg Daniels' brother?
Son. His son.
Son?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Also, we had talked about him because he was also in Space Force.
Yep.
Wait,
which is also a Greg Daniels show.
how old is Greg Daniels that he's a child?
Well, he's an adult child. Greg Daniels probably in his 50s-ish.
Gosh.
Maybe
Yikers.
top end
yes,
of that
no,
a
the
little
math all adds up. But wow, he does look like his dad. And okay, all right. Yes,
He's very fun. Yeah, he plays
for
basically
him.
the AI character within the
I mean, technically,
world.
He plays the most characters in the show.
Oh yeah, he's everywhere.
It's funny because Space Force, it's like pretty small.
Yeah,
this is like a ton. He works a lot, and you got to wonder. I mean, that's also interesting. I wonder production wise, like. Okay, well, there's 10 of you in this shot. So how
he's got to
have a whole different schedule. It's got to be a schedule like having to put the makeup on for a character. I'm in 7 hours early.
Or is he never on set? Like all those people are all green, suited, and he's only doing, who knows?
That's where you tell your kid. Your kid can't say no to you.
Yeah, no, you're going to be on the show. You will never be with anyone else.
Yeah,
you will just be in the green screen studio.
You are going to work 20 hours a day playing multiple characters.
But no, it's fun.
You want to be an actor, right?
In the second season, we're going to talk about how you're a failed actor. It's going to be good.
Oh my God.
In fact, let's just go meta, and you'll play a failed actor with. This is going to be great. We're just going to write you into the show itself. What? Okay.
So then when I eventually put myself as the creator and like top dog, like living the life,
I own the
this
company.
Will make a lot of
It'll
sense.
make a lot of sense. Oh yeah. You're actually the son of the owner of the virtual reality, and you're just in on this to try and tear the whole thing down. Oh, okay. Well, anyways, if you need ideas for season 3, we're available. So super enjoyed Upload. Lots of fun characters, and although season 2 felt like it got cut short for probably some production reasons, it was only 7 episodes, and it really was a hard it was like Lemmings straight off of a cliffhanger. everybody, what happened? We're not finishing any of those stories. I love it. I love it.
It was tough.
Just leave us all hanging. We'll watch in 6 months. I promise.
Yeah, I think that's a classic season 1 versus season 2. You know, getting introduced to the world is fun, and you feel like you cover so much ground, and then season 2, you're like, we didn't go as far. What's happening? This is not as exciting. It was still very good, and it's like, well, then it's also shorter, so we have much less of a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that show being short but having a season 3 in its future,
Very exciting.
I just looked up, and it's an old announcement. I didn't know that this had come out, but the other thing that I'd been watching, and this more heavily leans on Catherine, is I Hate Suzie.
Oh,
with one of my faves from the Doctor Who era,
universe. Yeah.
Billy Piper starring, and it's on HBO Max. And I did look it up, and it does have a season 2 announced.
Oh.
That ITV or Sky TV or Sky ITV.
Which who
one
knows
is it?
when
It's
we'll
one of
get
those
it,
three.
but yeah.
Something like that.
Sometimes there's
they
delays.
Announced last year.
Oh.
They will be going into production this year.
Wait,
So
what?
we might be getting season 2 of I Hate Suzie by the end of this year.
This reminds me of in The Good Place, Tahani, doesn't she have a joke about some English show? She's like, it's an amazing English show. It ran for 15 years and they did almost 30 episodes. Like, what?
Over 7 seasons.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you
The full thing is ridiculous, yeah.
And 100% an accurate representation of how their seasons and shows go.
Like, what? You did 3 episodes? What are you talking about? Well, wait. So I watched it a long time ago. I Hate Suzie. How many episodes were in this first season?
First season is 9 episodes.
9 episodes. And it was because it was on HBO Max. So I basically had and I was like, oh, I like her. Had it up and I was like, well, and watched it, enjoyed it very much. I didn't tell anyone about it or talk about it or think about it after.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard this mentioned before, and I'm looking. This has been nowhere on my radar.
Well, it's a tough topic, and I'm excited why they would do a season 2, because the reason why they did a season 1 was there's a scandal, and of course she's trying to get out from underneath it for the entire season.
Okay.
And her relationship is rough.
She's basically an actress who's going through some trauma. Self-created methods.
Speaking of self-created, it felt like as I watched this, I've been paying attention to Billie Piper's career since Doctor Who, like 15 years ago, something like that. And I was like, is this like, did she write this from some personal experience? Like some nude topless beach photos got like dropped in Star and it kind of messed some stuff up for her. I wonder if this was like, if there was an element of, I know this story or I can attach to this story, because she really did have some real performance stuff in these first
Well, yeah, they
3
say
episodes.
the first episode is about her phone getting hacked and photos and well, don't go. Yeah,
I'm not gonna ruin anything for you too, because there's a season 2 in its future. But I would definitely recommend watching this, because it's not a fun romp through an adult experience.
Yeah,
it is like
dark comedy.
It's like you got in a car accident and you got to take your car to the shop and you just got to be an adult and like pay for the damage, and it's a pain. It's going to take a while. You got to get a rental car. The experience of that was much like this experience. Like, you're just watching this character like, oh no, that's going to be a rough week for you. Oh, it's turning into a rough month. Well, it's going to be a rough 6 months. Okay. But as that unravels for the character, each episode, I didn't realize this as I was watching it, is titled like these basic conceits of dealing with an issue where like the episode titles are shock, denial, fear, shame, bargaining, guilt, and you're like, oh, I see where this is going. And there's a pretty good through line for all of it for her. No one else is on that title. Everyone else in that entire series is having their own whole show. Her husband doesn't come out of that first season well. Like, he is not good at the start and whatever their relationship is, but by the end of it, it's tough. It was a tough ride for him. And, we'll see where they end up with a season 2. But it was a lot more performance and acting than I usually get from my Doctor Who Billie Piper. But it was very enjoyable. And, not quite as adult themed, although plenty of adult theme in it, as the last series that I watched her in, which was Secret Diaries of a Call Girl.
What? Ugh. I didn't watch that.
That was a really fun one. That was based off a book.
All right.
All right. That's what I brought to the table.
Oh no! Does that mean I have to go?
Yes.
Okay, fine. All right. So, in more catch up from 2021 films, I watched Swan Song from Apple.
Swan Song?
Mahershala Ali.
Oh.
I thought you watched it, Catherine.
No.
I was like, oh, she's gonna totally be on my.
No.
What? I
No.
feel like you talked about it and you were like, yeah,
When?
I watched
No, I didn't.
it. Okay. Did you talk about?
I was aware of it.
Did you talk about wanting to watch it? Is that what I'm misremembering?
I don't think so.
We talk about everything. I know what you're thinking. All right, fine. Anyway, so I'm the only one who's watched it. That's okay. Look, I didn't really know a ton about it. It was like, okay, this is a movie on Apple. There's not that many of them, but it's super light sci-fi. All right, sure. I don't, there's some kind of double twin clone thing. I don't understand what's happening, but double the Mahershala sounds good. And yeah, it was really good. I mean, he did get nominated for the BAFTAs and for Golden Globes and, a couple of things.
I do remember that. When you're describing this plot, I don't remember at all what it was about.
I haven't said anything about the plot.
No, but even just what you just said,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have remembered that.
Well, I don't know. They didn't. In some ways, I think part of the problem was, look, Apple is, all advertising is weird nowadays. But Apple is certainly doing its own version of weird advertising, and somewhat on the Netflix model, but even less. Like, we're going to tell you about it for a little bit, and then we move on. Good luck.
They do embed trailers at the tops of shows, though, which Netflix doesn't typically do. So
But that's
Not
only
yet.
on Apple, right? So you're only seeing that if you're on Apple. So yeah,
That's true.
So that's a helpful thing. Then they took the Coda win and then well, now everybody knows. So let's really tell everyone. But I feel like this got lost when it didn't get more momentum and then didn't get more nominations. But I feel like that little bit of messaging that even I got was like, I don't know what this is about. Is it sci-fi? Is that his twin? What is this? I don't understand. So I feel like that might not have helped people or you. So it's like I said, it's light sci-fi. It's almost like an upload where it's just a little bit in the future. But they almost combined where Upload has a clean version in their digital afterlife, and then they have kind of a dirty reality of 9,000 drones delivering burritos. So they took all the dirty elements out, and it's like, oh no, technology advanced, things are clean and nice, and this driverless car, things are good. So they did that version, which is a little bit more like the Upload afterlife. So, I mean, I guess you guys don't mind being too ruined, but it's that he has discovered that he is sick and going to die. And so this is like a new process where they'll make a clone and then you can give him your memories.
Ooh.
And then you, Swan Song, take a step back and he goes into your life.
Oh, he takes over your life. Ooh.
Yeah. And
Is that how swans do it?
No.
Oh, okay.
And then I think the crazy thing is, it's a new thing. They eventually say you're the third person.
Oh,
Because there's it's what they don't get too far into it. They don't do the news cycle of people have heard about it and they don't like it, but they there's a weird it's a weird process and you're gonna struggle with it and whatever. But the idea is if no one else knows, then there's no issue because it's
you,
absolute perfect clone of you. And so they can go on as if with normal life can go on, including for you, quote unquote. So you can't tell anybody. So you basically make that decision yourself, and then you don't tell. So he doesn't tell his wife, or you wouldn't.
What?
Tell right? Yeah. No. Because otherwise the wife would not be into it. They'd be like, "Well, this is the clone. Fuck this. I'm leaving." Right.
Whoa.
So you
okay.
don't tell anybody, and then so then the clone can just re-enter your life and go forward. There's a weird they do a good job.
I see in the cast one of my favorites, Glenn Close.
She plays the doctor who they don't talk about it, but whatever, made the technique or something. And
She's sinister.
no, she
Damn it!
It's funny. One of the descriptions is brash, and even that's 90%. It's a little too far. But because she's trying to convince him in a way.
Does she have an interesting hairdo?
No, it's actually pretty. No, they didn't go weird sci-fi or anything. But yeah, it's just, it's very cleaned up, normal.
Because Glenn can go there, and I enjoy it.
No, she was really good. Cause,
She's always good.
I'm not trying to guess at a spoiler, but
Yeah.
are there at least multiple Glenn doctors running this facility? Because if I could clone myself and I was Glenn Close and run a facility of doctors that clone people, I'd have fucking 20 Glenn Closes running my facility.
Well,
franchise it.
Sure. They talk about it's going to trip you the hell out. We're going to call him by a different name because it's not you. But then even there's a moment where she's in the room with him and she they do all kinds of interesting tech, for it. She does a little motion with her hand to turn the audio off inside the room. Because, everything's embedded and whatever. It's all, work technology wise. And then she's like, no, you are Cam. She's like, no, you're you. We just have to call, so it's like, oh, wow, we're running a little tightrope in what's going on here. So she's really good because, Mahershala is really struggling with, should I do this? Is it really going to be him? Can I not tell my wife? Should I just, let this go? And it's you're just going to die. Your wife's also pregnant. So, you might not die tomorrow, but you're going to die soon. So the choice is, you could make this choice and nothing changes for them. Life just goes on. Your job still goes on.
They'll never know.
Life is still perfect. And also, he doesn't have this disorder. He's not going to get this later for him or whatever. So, but Glenn is trying to convince him in a way. Cause, she doesn't do any kind of crazy hard sell. It doesn't turn into a prisoner scenario or anything. He even breaks. He's supposed to stay away, but he goes one time. He actually does that twice, I think. And, one time it's sort of okay. And then the second time it was ooh, you're really regular rules. This is crazy. So it's, just to come back at, so Glenn Close, there was a moment where you're she's no, I really understand where you've been. And you're so you were number one? Oh, no, I don't know. We're not getting into it? Okay, fine. But Awkwafina plays number two. And so she's there, her clone's already gone. Although it's only been they say the number of days, and it's 60 days or something.
Meaning her clone has gone out into the world, and she, the original, is there.
Is dying of cancer in this facility.
Geez. Okay.
So he even that's part of the initial thing. He visits the clone.
Oh.
And you're this is kind of crazy. It's is it gonna say something? No, nothing weird happens. She's totally normal. She's hanging out with the daughter. Everything's fine.
See, they always, not always, but this is one of those elements you just wonder, where's all the money coming for this? I mean, you're gonna live two lifestyles?
Well, I mean, sure, but on the other hand, she's now living out her last 2 months at a facility, so whatever.
But now, do you have the credit card? You're both charging things
Well, no, I mean, look, they're living inside kind of the super clean technology future,
right?
And you definitely think about some stuff like that. But he has glasses and contacts that are basically kind of your phone ID, whatever. It's doing everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is kind of it's either one or the other. It's either him or the other guy. It's still you, but only one of you can have the access.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's you're getting to view things through his contact lenses. So you're oh, are you getting the video stream or whatever? But he doesn't really have. It's not him. He's seeing it as a third party. They're also they go into the city at some point and it's pretty cleaned up. So it's that version of life where it's no, we figured out work. Everybody's got a job that works for them. It's fine. So
it's not the future where everything falls apart. Idiocracy or something.
teeny bit unrealistic. I'm sure they can get into that. Oh, these are all upper class people. Right. And there's people who don't have the money to do this, but they don't do that. They present a very clean, nice future. So perhaps unrealistic.
Swan Song. All right. Yeah, I had no memory of what it was, but now I'm intrigued to watch it.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? I know you hate Black Mirror or won't watch it.
Please don't talk about it.
Okay, then never mind.
Perfect.
You know what? I'll take that and just jump in with, I thought it was going to go in the direction of Black Swan and his twin was going to be evil. That's all right. It didn't, which is great.
Damn, they missed it.
No, well, whatever.
Black Swan Song.
They did what they were doing, and it was good. Naomi Harris is the wife. She's great.
I love Naomi Harris.
Yeah, Adam Beach is plays the psychologist to Glenn Close's doctor, and so he's very good. He says, some things seem no, we shouldn't do this. He's good. We also got. I looked this kid up. The kid who plays him. They do a lot of jumping because. They do a lot of memories because it's I'm which memory am I giving, or we're reliving, we're checking the memory. So like me and the clone are like doing the memories at the same time. It's craziness.
Like a memory sync kind of thing.
Yeah, and he's constantly just thinking about moments and whatever. So you get a couple different of his ages, but I guess him at it's actually his son at age 8, which is like the current son, was so good. And I was like, man, this kid is good. What else he's done? Oh, not too much, but apparently he did one episode of Good Place as young Chidi.
Oh,
So
really?
Yep.
Young Chidi. Well, I will say also, we'll have to update everybody later, but John and Eric and I just started watching The Man Who Fell to Earth,
Same here.
The new series, and Naomi Harris is in it, which just reminded
That's
me.
also
so
true.
we'll have to check on that a little bit later.
For all the layered reasons.
We have got to get to James and talk to him about his
I know,
experience,
yeah. Well,
because of mine.
let's not
is
do
not,
it now
okay,
since
sorry.
no one has the answer.
That's true. I'm just
Thanks.
saying I want to go on record that we need to.
Good job.
Done with that.
So the only other thing I'll say, so it was directed by first-time feature director Benjamin Cleary, and he won an Academy Award for his short in 2016. So I don't know. Bright future for that guy, I guess.
Good job.
It was very good.
Love it. Swan Song.
All right. I think this might be unexpected,
Uh-oh. Okay.
but I am going to talk about truly one of my favorite shows of all time.
Of all time.
Probably one of my top 10. And I'm talking about it this week because it's having its 300th episode airing this week, and I
Got
just
it.
watched it. And it's Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel on HBO.
Really? Okay.
It is truly one of my favorite shows.
How apropos after our family dynamics last week
on sports.
Our sports.
Yes. A lot of things unrelatable with skill level. But
Well, he should have interviewed us. That's all I'm saying.
he or multiple Mary Carrillo. I mean, there's so many.
And you're saying outside
Soledad.
of the Olympics.
Oh,
All right,
yes.
fine. Okay.
Yes. So it's season 28, and they just aired their 300th episode. So Bryant Gumbel is the host, and there's usually 4 stories. He doesn't always conduct or produce one of
Is this on HBO? What is it
HBO.
on?
It's on HBO. It originally aired in 1995. Okay.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know what the original plan was. There's no way you go, you're going to have 28 seasons, right?
No. But, I
And-
mean, you hope, I guess.
And when they have their season, it's once a week. I think they might have been a once a month thing when they first launched. And it's in-depth reporting on topics related to sports, but the broadest definition of that. Mm-hmm. And it really goes into, psychological, physical, financial. They are absolutely people that started to break what would be considered the concussion controversy. There was a horse jockey story they did about children that were horse jockeys, and I think it was in Saudi Arabia.
Camel jockeys?
Camel jockeys.
Sorry, camel
Sports
jockey-
of sheiks.
And they shed a light on that changed that whole industry.
Oh, wow.
The Olympics, they usually every 2 years is an in-depth analysis on both the athletes, their stories, the economics of it, that is so in-depth. I don't know when I first started watching it, because 95 feels like, wasn't I doing other things with my life? That would have been on my radar. Did I even have HBO?
I wasn't super aware.
I don't know.
Doesn't seem like.
But the first story that I remember watching, and because they do such an excellent job of reporting and getting to the heart of it, because it sports can break your heart, and so there was a story about father and son, and most people know this is one of the most iconic stories that they've ever done, which was about Dick Hoyt. And he had a severely disabled son, Rick, who couldn't walk, who really couldn't talk. And the dad decided to push him in a wheelchair in front of him.
Oh, I remember this now.
He started with Boston marathons, and then I think they got to triathlons and just swimming and biking, and had the apparatuses, and Rick would make noises that encouraged Dick. He was nonverbal, but could kind of make noises that encouraged Dick to push. And this is a man that was older when he started to do this. And it really, changed his whole life. And it was how he communicated and had a relationship with his son. And it changed for a lot of parents. They looked at their children as being capable or able to participate in sports if they were interactive with it. And it was such an incredible story. And you just saw that, you could look at your son and feel like he's not capable of anything. And that is one of those through lines throughout their 28 seasons. You could have children that were born with birth defects, or maybe an accident happened to them. So whether they were children or adults, how they overcame it. And they excel in sports to the point where you're like, that's incredible they can do that. It's inspirational. And I just think, and they'll do controversy, they'll take on whether there'll be strikes with, way back when it was the baseball league against the owners, and they'll talk about the lack of diversity in certain sports, or how LGBTQ plus is being handled in certain sports, high school sports. They take on so many. It's such well done. They've won Peabodys. They've won, Emmys. Well deserved. It's such a well done show. And so, I always have it. I try to get my son to watch it because I always feel like, there are times you'll watch and go, what the fuck am I complaining about when you watch it? You go, wow. So this 300th episode was, and I was kind of like a little turned off at first. Like Jake Paul, the YouTube sensation.
Oh, sure.
Who's taken over
boxing. Or MMA or something. What is he doing?
Boxing. So it's kind of like, okay. Damn, they're reporting. They did such a good job showing how the early fame of YouTube, then to be canceled, then to try to find something that made sense for him, and how he's upending the industry. Freaking fascinating. And by the end, you're like, I'm a fan of you, dude. I don't even, whoever agreed to this interview, your PR person, is brilliant. I didn't even really know you. I had that preconceived notion of who you were. I feel pivoted by it. Like now I kind of root for you because you're really putting in the work. And you're taking it seriously, and you're upending an industry that has been very dominated in how they construct themselves, and you're changing it. He's also becoming a promoter of women boxers.
Oh wow!
And getting one of the largest purses for a woman boxer ever.
Well, I like that. Good for him.
Not to give him any credit, but that's the move. That's the industries that aren't absorbing what's happening in the world right now. That people should get paid for equal work. If you have a female boxer who's bringing the same crowd and the same revenue, she gets the same check.
Yeah,
but that industry, and like a lot of industries, there's no need to change. That's money out of their pocket. Why are they going to change? It takes someone new coming in and saying, I'm not trying to get all the money into my pocket. I'm happy with everyone getting money in their pockets. Let's do this.
Yeah, they've talked about on Real Sports the inequality of the economics in a lot of sports, whether it be women or college sports. I was
going to say college sports seems like
or even, what maybe the owners are bringing in and what they're paying the players. And there's a huge thing almost every season they have something about the NFL and these guys that, destroy their bodies and sometimes their minds and really left
with nothing.
Yeah. And especially if they're left really incapacitated, it can take all of their money just to try to survive. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's a trip. Just all these pro leagues, getting to that pro league meant that you were an amazing athlete,
exceptional.
Better than so many people in your area or whatever. You climbed a lot of mountains, high school, college, like star. But then you get to the pros, and then you're not the star there. And yeah, you're making quote unquote good money at the time to be this, sort of practice player or on the bench or whatever. But it is not in football, especially. That equation is not going to be worth it because what they're going to put you through to be not a star and to not have money for your future is pretty terrible.
Well, there's quite a few sports that's been an overall topic. Gymnastics. And they talked about the rampant, sexual abuse. They had something last season about it that was an amazing package. So it shows you sports that you didn't even know existed in the world because, you think but a lot can be done with a ball, a stick, your feet, your hands. It's incredible. And, what people will sacrifice for the love of their sport with sometimes very little payoff. It is so inspiring, the dedication. And this was Bryant Gumbel at his best. He did an interview in this episode with a falconer, and his name was Rodney Stouts. And he came from an urban city, and he became part of where it was sort of like it was a program that during the Clinton administration where you were cleaning up sort of your maybe more of a suburban part of your city. And through it, because they were assigned to help basically save a bald eagle, he got into falconry. And it's mostly a British, Austrian sport. Very bizarre. Hi, in the United States.
I wouldn't have even known that it was still existing.
Nothing.
Well, the Tenenbaums, but sure.
Oh, exactly. Maybe that's why I got so into it.
And Prince Humperdinck.
Thank you. And so I just think you went back to, the roots of where this gentleman, Rodney, his passion was born, how it saved his life, because in the urban city where he was from, 23 funerals in one season, because it was the era of basically crack cocaine, and how the animal saved his life and how he's passing along the knowledge. I mean, he was just utterly inspiring as a human being. And you want to go, where did they find this guy? What made them do a story on him?
World is a big place. It's crazy.
It's fantastic. And there's Bryant Gumbel in the field having a gorgeous falcon land on his very, gloved hand. So that was an amazing story. And then the last one is this Oksana Masters. And they tied it in because she was a child from Ukraine and part of the basically meltdown that happened, the Chernobyl meltdown, and the birth defects that she suffered from it. And then she was put into
is she a rower? I think I saw a little bit of this.
Oh my God. If you're having a down day, I say watch Real Sports sometimes. It gives you perspective of what people have overcome, what they've faced. And she was truly inspiring. So she's in this orphanage. I mean, she literally, as a 6-year-old, fought off, a man who stabbed her in the stomach. I mean, just insanity.
Wow.
And some woman in America, even with all her disabilities, saw a picture of him, went like, that's my child. Took her 2 years to get her here.
Oh, geez.
And yes, she started rowing. And she has, the lower part of her body. I think she ended up having her legs amputated because they were so severely disabled, in her hands. And this is all from basically being born, in the shadow of
close to the
Chernobyl. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So smart, so articulate, such an incredibly accomplished woman in the Special Olympics.
Well, I mean, it was kind of unprecedented because, it's this last Summer Games was her third discipline. It was like, okay, she did rowing, then she crossed over to winter with skiing, and then she went back to summer with cycling. It's madness. It's amazing.
But there's been so many stories like that over the years. And so to have them come back, which is now their 28th season and it's their 300th episode, and the year-end recap is always fascinating because they'll go along to all the basically co-hosts. And, I've watched it so long, there's actually been a few, I think maybe only one's passed away, but a lot of them retired. And he has women, Soledad O'Brien is one of my favorite, Mary Carrillo, who usually, she's, I think she was tennis, but now she's, all different types of sports are usually covered. Bernie Goldberg always gets really upset, but then someone will charm him, and then you get him to smile, you just love him. But there was so many hosts over the years. I mean, one of my favorite, I'm trying to remember his name. I'll remember in just a second. Oh, Frank DeFord. I mean, I think he had played professional basketball on some level, was so tall, and his pants would always rise up, and he had some great pair of socks on, and his hair would always be whipped over in all these different directions. But you can see usually the impact or inspiration that it has directly on the interviewer. Because usually they kind of are co-producing. So I think they go in and pitch a story that intrigues them as well. And so you can tell a lot of times they're so excited to experience, whether they're off in the Sahara doing something, or now they're in the Arctic, or they're excited as well to interview these people. But like I said, no other person's shining a light on this person and what they're doing. And Bryant Gumbel, literally, this falconry story was the perfect example of that. Why would I ever know anything about this person, Rodney Stutz? And I found him so fascinating and inspiring, and someone that really has such a passion for his life that is so off the track and different. But, it was inspiring because he was so passionate about it. So,
wow, cool.
There's other shows I watched this week, but because it's its 300th episode, Real Sports on HBO, I think you can go back on HBO Max. It usually just airs on HBO, but I think you can go back and probably watch almost all of them.
Yeah,
they're definitely
HBO is
available on
pretty
YouTube.
good
I think YouTube. I mean, I think there's multiple ways to watch it, and I highly recommend it. And usually, I would say your 10-year-old plus, depending on the topic, is okay to watch. There is controversial characters and topics, so not everything is completely age appropriate. So you have to kind of gauge for yourself. But it is Emmy Award-winning Peabody, one of the best shows I think on television.
Wow, I did not know that you watched it. That is a real.
It's a shocker. It's a little off-brand for me, everybody. But if you know me.
Not really.
Rosemary. I mean, Rosie.
Did you you're into some news magazine show too? Is it Dateline?
I love Dateline.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, Amazing Race, the Olympics are some of my favorite. And then still to this day, Mark Burnett, one of his first shows.
Oh, Eco Challenge?
Eco Challenge was one of my favorite shows ever.
So, yeah, this is in your
Which was the baby of Survivor, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So... like I always said, like our other podcast, Family Dynamics, we just did on sports. There is something. We are all semi-athletic, but yet none of us ever took it to a full level. So I'm always inspired by and intrigued to learn about people that are that passionate and, really give the dedication to, because it's inspiring in other ways in your life. And like I said, if you're feeling down, depressed, which is a valid thing to feel, I'm not discounting it. But, this maybe could be one of the little things that can help you, maybe feel a little better about your day, just because it's just incredible, some of the stories. So I'll wrap up mine. So Real Sports on HBO.
And we assume HBO Max.
Yeah.
And usually they have a lot of the catalog there. So
Exactly.
you can hopefully watch so much. Okay, and I brought up Grace and Frankie, which I finished, and Liz is going to get on it. And then Heartstoppers on the Netflix, which was very good.
And I brought Upload and I Hate Suzie. Upload on Amazon Prime and I Hate Suzie on HBO Max.
Love it.
And I watched Swan Song on Apple.
Which I'm very intrigued. Now I might need to watch Swan Song, even though I totally forgot that I even maybe talked about it with you. I don't know. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. And please like and subscribe and follow us on all of our socials at Podcast Watching. And we also have a Patreon. You can become a patron, which we really appreciate. And it's pretty easy to do.
Thank you. Please join.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do. And that's where we talk about shows that we vent, kind of, I guess, on shows that we did not super enjoy, which is very fun.
And we like to hear what you do and do not like as well. Yeah.
You got to do a lot of watching in preparation for the show, and this gets the positive. The Patreon gets the rest.
Yeah, which is it's sometimes it's real fun to just go
Hashtag
off on,
hate watching.
Yeah, or regret watching. Oh yeah. Anyway, okay, so that's it for us. Thank you for listening to
What We Are Watching.